Alright, so this is going to be a quick video just going through my BB and just showcasing little tricks that I do throughout the video, why I'm doing it, and where it saves time. To start off with the first level, there's not really much to the first level, it's just scoop to the end. That little jump over the edge saves basically half a second. So what am I doing throughout this entire situation? Why am I jumping and shaking to side to side? What I'm doing is known as strafe jumping, or wiggle jumping as I like to call it, where you just constantly jump with the scroll wheel and just press A and D at a constant pace whilst in the air. So you gain roughly about 10% extra speed throughout the entire run, which adds up after on a 30-minute run. Alright, so that was the first level, quick and easy. Just go to the end, be done, grab the shotgun, go. So first little thing we're going to showcase here is, why did I pull the pistol out? I pulled the pistol out because the upcoming kamikaze has 2 hit points when shot with the pistol. The first one will stagger it and the second one will kill it. We do this for a very specific reason, is that we don't want the massive line of kamikazes to spawn until we're inside the room, because we want to kill 2 specific NARs which will spawn a clear, which we can then use later for a trick. So let me show this off then. So there's the kamikaze, shoot him once, stagger him, and then pull out the shotgun, kill the one NAR, the other NAR will be there, kill that guy, bop, get through the door, a bit better than that, and you'll see the NARs, the clear, spawn behind me. Then we ride that clear all the way down here, get him into the corner, jump, and we're over the fence super fast. Now we need to just kill these kamikazes because they are the trigger for the next arena coming up, and then we head straight over here because there's a secret right behind this door, which will give us a Tommy gun, which we can use to clear the arena a bit faster. That guy over there has nothing to do with the arena, and you can completely ignore him. I just kill him because you want to. So the way we do this arena is we shoot these 2 doors twice, and then we make our way to the door which will open, and we try to kill as many things as we're coming, so we can get up here, jump up the torch, jump over. That's faster than going all the way around. So that arena, we kill those, specifically those 4 frogs, because at a certain place in the room, so that they, when we're walking backwards, the frogs behind us, on the walls behind us, don't get stuck, because they have the tendency to do that. So we kill those 4, we move towards the door, killing as many as we can. We don't have to kill every frog, we only have to kill like less than, I think 1 or 2 can survive and we can get through. Not sure why. And then that's just how you get through that arena pretty quickly. Ready for the random NAR that spawns, and he's dead. There's a guy behind that wall, you can ignore him. So now we're just making our way towards the end of the level. There's not really much else left at the end of the level other than a few little dodges for a bull coming up. Wiggle jumping is really hard on the fingers. Yeah, just do a quick dodge on him. Stopping and dodging means he won't be up in your face near the door when you're trying to get through it, because it's a giant pain in the butt when he does that. Alright. Tomb of Ramesses is an annoying level, but not one you're going to reset often on. So what we're going to do here, there is exactly this guy up here, and there is going to be another one, another blue guy, who's going to spawn right here the moment this guy dies. So we want to kill him at a certain point in the room, so that when this guy spawns, he drops down immediately, we can use him as a platform, jump straight up, and we can skip going around this way to go up, and we skip a clear spawn, which is around here, and is also based off of spawn as kills in the room, because that guy can nearly always you'll come around the corner, you'll jump, and he'll immediately smack you and stop your momentum completely. So kill that guy as soon as we get in. That guy will drop down, we can jump on his head, jump straight over. There's usually a clear here which will jump out every single time if you go the left way, and we can completely avoid the spawn. So now we're just making our way, jumping over all the enemies. Time your jumps here quite well, so you don't end up wiggle jumping continuously and then just slamming face first into them. We jump up into this secret, and we want all these NARs here, as many as we can possibly can, because then some of them will get squeezed up that little corner and come with us. because we want to use them to skip this next little arena. So the trick to this, the trick to jumping on Nars is that they will stop moving roughly about a second before you get to them. So if you jump and expect them to be underneath you, they won't. You have to jump forward and then jump back. If you don't do that, you'll just jump and then they'll just hit you when you come down. So you jump forward and then jump back and you're straight over really fast. Come around the corner, ignore that dude. This is personal preference. I like to kill this guy because sometimes he can be a bit of a pain if you don't do it right. So we jump on the torch, jump on this guy. Right, so we jump on the Gnar which spawns behind us and it lets us get to the top platform super fast. There's a problem with this. Well, there's a trick to this that you can do it even faster. You can jump on that guy's head, that blue guy, and then jump on the Gnar which will come underneath you and then you can get straight up a lot faster. But it's very dependent on whether or not Gnar's being nice to you or not. So sometimes you go for it, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It's not a big deal. As long as the Gnar actually spawns. So quick nice little skip here, jump on this, jump on that, straight over. Nice little trick. So now we're just making our way through the end of this arena, ignoring the double barrel, we don't need it. And we want to get the enemies in a certain place here. There's a little trick I go for in this that I sometimes go for just to speed it up a little bit. Right there. So doing the one pistol shot to stagger a kamikaze, in this time that he is staggered, you can actually jump on his head. And you can use that to jump over the wall a bit faster than waiting for a clear to help you. Which is what I do there. Not that much faster though. Now we just make our way to the end of the level. As soon as you get to the end of the level, spam that left click. You want to skip those cutscenes. So now for Valley of the Kings. There is a trick in this level that I don't go for because it requires a very high frame rate, and as you can see in the top right, I don't have said frame rate. You need 200 plus, and there's that tree over to the left. If you get on that tree in a certain way, and in a certain way it sways, it will shoot you out at such high speed that if you jump off of certain hills, you will fly right over this wall and get to skip the upcoming boss fight. So what am I going for here? I'm going for the bull ride. I failed it there, but there's actually a little trick I most of the time pull off is where you move to the right just before the bull's about to hit you, and it will always fly right past you, and you can get into a really good position to get a bull ride off. You keep this Gnar alive here for a long time because he is the trigger to spawn more enemies back there, and you want less enemies spawning as possible because for the boss fight you don't want enemies coming in front of you and taking shots basically. So now what I'm going to go for here is a bull ride. I fail it completely, but I did pepper the bull down before I hit it. That bull ride saves about a second or two. Now we kill this guy because he spawns the rocket. We collect as much ammo as we really need, and the boss spawns. This boss is not difficult. It's literally move left, right, left, right. When he stops shooting, you can hold and shoot. If you get him a stagger here, that's really good because he'll move forward for a while, and then you can just move backwards, fire enough shots, and then just go. So here is the probably the most annoying trick in the run for me. We need to clear as much enemies as we possibly can, and we want to have 2 Gnars up here. We want to get this guy in a certain angle, and then we want to do a Gnar fly. I'll explain this in a different video, but a Gnar fly is essentially a very fast way of getting around the world because you can basically go wherever you want. As long as you hit like an outbound trigger, you can go wherever you like. Kind of goof it up a little bit here. But that guy comes in just in time to give me a bit of a speed boost. The reason why we have the second Gnar here is because if he hits you and you don't accidentally fall off, which you can do, he'll give you a nice speed boost, which will allow you to get all the way to the end here. There are 2 ways to do this. You can either go all the way to the end, or you can go to that little room over here to the right, and then touch the teleport trigger, which will spawn you right here, and then you just have to move forward and go down. I sometimes go for this if I get a good angle and good speed, because it is a little bit faster. So yeah, I'll explain how Gnar flying works in a different video, because it's a little complicated how you actually feel if whether you're on the now or not. Here's the biggest reset point in the run, Oasis, because this level basically has to be played perfectly, this first section anyway, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of time. So we start by clearing this guy out because he can mess with the trick coming up here. And we clear out 2 harpies. And we keep that one alive. We're moving in a very specific way here to pull off, to make it so the harpy comes in a very specific manner down, so when we hit here he's going to come straight down, so that when we can go back into the corner and pull off the harpy fly. So we jump on, we try to aim for roughly the butt section. I fail it here, which means I lose time. So I have to clear these certain guys. But because I didn't spawn any extra enemies, which is good, I can pull it off as many times as I want. Now I probably flew a bit too high there, which was entirely unnecessary, but doesn't really matter. Now I fail here and actually fall down, which is a huge time sink. But the way you're supposed to do it is go all the way to the end and actually get into the room. Thankfully, I've done this room tons of times on 100%, so it's not actually that big of a deal. I know what I'm doing here. I know what enemies are going to spawn and how to deal with them. But this is about 20 to 30 seconds of time loss, just because I goofed up here quite a lot. So we just have to clear these enemies out and the door behind us will open. So as you can see right there, it's 37 seconds I just lost right there. I'm surprised this PB'd, honestly. Really goes to show how much time I saved on the ender levels. You can see my fantastic aim with a rocket here. So this is where bull riding is actually important, because this saves a lot of time if you get it right. So what you're doing here is you're basically jumping at a very certain time, so the bull doesn't hit you, but you land on the bull in a way where it continues to run for a short amount of time, but doesn't hit you. So you can use that to ride the bull all the way to the wall. You can see how badly I'm doing it here, because the timing is very, very specific. You've got about, I don't know, quarter of a second-ish. And we just use a quick bull boost to get right over the wall. Now this arena is pretty simple, nothing much to it. We grab the pill here to start the arena, we stop here to grab the ammo pack, because that's what actually starts the arena. And now we're just clearing enemies. The weapon choice in this game for certain arenas is actually really, really important. I personally prefer the grenade launcher for dealing with clears, because you can make the shots pretty instant. They're a lot faster than, say, rockets, and they do the exact same damage as rockets. So in my opinion, as long as you can utilize the aim correctly, because it's an arcing aim, you will hit more shots and a lot faster than you will with a rocket launcher. For these enemies coming up, I use the laser cannon because it is the faster weapon for clearing out long range enemies before you get the minigun. And it's pretty fast against killing these because it does actually do more damage per second than the minigun. But the minigun is hit scan, whereas this is projectile, so you can actually miss a lot of shots. So all we're doing is killing all of the green guys, because they are the only thing that's stopping this door from opening. These Nars next to us, no impact whatsoever. So that was Dunes. That entire level is basically just get good at bull riding and then optimize your weapons. That's all it is. This is also a very, very easy level to get through, and it is very, very optimized. Because all you're doing is going to the next area, activating 2 switches, and then jumping down a well. That's all you're doing. Again, weapon choice is important. I prefer the grenade launcher because I can quickly kill him before his hitbox blocks me. So now we're just making our way to 2 switches here. Be careful when you kill these guys, because when they're falling, their hitbox stays for a while and it can block you, which is a pain. Also, tap left click there to skip a cutscene of it showing the sewer door opening. So we just grab both switches. So yeah, that's where I goofed it, and then I did it at the wrong time, so I ended up looking in the wrong place, and it really confused me. This jump I hate. I hate this jump so much, because you always clip on, like see, I clipped on both areas there. In the classic version, you're basically never ever going to hit those. It's really actually difficult to actually get the secret down there, but in HD they made it a lot wider, both sections, so it's actually really hard to get a straight down jump. And it does waste time if you get hit by these little ledges. Alright, time for sewers. So, I'm not going to really talk about sewers that much because it is just go straight to the end. What I'm going to talk about sewers is the trick I don't actually do here in this run, because I haven't actually pulled off a run that's better than this run with the trick. And what you're doing is something that will come up in the next level, which is known as a clip. And what we do here is we lower the frame rate to a very low level, unplayable, and then we attach scroll wheel to crouch, and then we get enough height and speed that when we hit the ground and we are scroll wheel crouching, by the time on the frame we hit the ground we are crouching and it will clip us through the ground. You can actually pull this off in sewers right at the start of the level and basically swim out of bounds because there's water all over the place around here, and just go straight to this section here and use these fish to boost you all the way to the end. The reason why you can't go straight to the end is that the water doesn't actually reach all the way. Actually, I got some really bad fish boosts here, but I haven't pulled that off yet. Just watch the IL for sewers if you want to know how that trick works. It's pretty amazing, and it only saves about 15 seconds. From going around 10 to 15, it's not much. Now for Metro. So Metro is a very, very fast level on any percent, and a very slow level in max percent. In any percent, we use a harpy fly and we use said object clipping to just completely skip the level. The enemies I'm choosing to kill here are very specific. I'm choosing to kill all these enemies here now, just so they don't bother me when I'm trying to do this harpy fly. Because we want to move in a specific way to get this harpy right here, and then we want to jump on a butt while scroll wheel jumping to get some height. Height is not important with this trick. You want enough, but you don't want to go nuts. You're mostly looking to control your harpy, because the harpy fly in this level is incredibly difficult. Like, incredibly difficult to actually do properly, because you want to fly in a straight line as possible. So yeah, this is where I'm changing. I accidentally turned cheats on, but thankfully it didn't unpause the game, so it didn't count. So there, you see what I did. I lowered the frame rate to 20, and I was spamming scroll wheel whilst also holding forward, so that when I hit the ground I crouched and I immediately clipped. And then I clipped onto a random piece of invisible collision that's just underneath this wall that you can then ride down and get straight to the end of the level. It's so good, because killing every enemy in this level is about 15-ish minutes. This level is about a minute because of this one save. It skips everything, and there's so many arenas here. So yeah, this random piece of collision here, which is part of the roof, kind of, we just jump down, go to the door, because that's where the end level trigger is, and that's Metro. Now this is the level which will test your finger strength, because it's just a good long way of jumping with mouse wheel and spamming A and D. So yeah, this is probably the most annoying level. This is the level where you look at your second monitor and read Twitter or something, because there is literally nothing to this level at all. You're just going in a straight line. I am doing something very specific, which is avoiding these armors, because they actually spawn enemies which can get in your way. Just gonna take a quick drink of tea here. Great level, isn't it? Alright, so we finally grabbed the cannon, which is an extremely useful weapon for clearing arenas. Full powered cannon will kill the rocket guy in one shot. We're using these balls specifically just to get over the wall, because it's faster than killing all the enemies that we need to actually to open the door. I don't actually know what enemies you need to open that door, because in max percent you kill all of them anyway. I actually got a stupid amount of height there, which managed to get onto the top of that pillar, which was kind of weird, but don't really matter. So we're moving towards the center of the arena to start the arena, because that will open the door behind us and allow the bulls to come in. Because if you don't do it, if you go just book it straight to this corner here, the bulls, sometimes the door will open and the bulls will get stuck and you'll just won't be able to get over the wall. And then we use the same bull boost trick again, just really badly here. See, this is where my time can be saved. There we go, straight over. Grab this ammo pack because we don't have any ammo for any of our weapons. Once we grab that, we get all our ammo back. And all we're doing for this arena is killing every enemy. This is the only arena we can't skip. So we have to kill every enemy whilst putting in every secret. And I've tested, like even utilizing like clips, you can't physically get high enough to clip through that wall. And even on say normal where you can use rocket boosts, you can't get enough height without killing yourself to actually clip through that wall. You would have to have max health and max armor to do it, and even then you actually, by the time you get to the top, you have less than 50 health, so you'll die with your next rocket. So yeah, this level is probably the most tedious because it's the most, it's only got one skip, and it's the one arena that you skip. You skip killing a few enemies right like before you get into the arena, and then you skip the arena itself. That's all this really level is. So it's quite a boring one, honestly. There is a neat little trick that I do like to utilize against the upcoming boss, which I'll showcase once it actually happens. Again, weapon choice is very important here. The minigun is the best weapon for long range enemies because it's hit scan, it's very very fast, and it kills a lot of lower health enemies very very quickly. Like for example, cannons are very good for killing high health enemies quickly, because it also travels very quickly. So when it comes to learning this arena, it's literally just learning where the enemies are going to spawn and whereabouts they're going to be, depending on how fast you get for the arena, because obviously they're moving. If you're not killing them as you're moving, there's going to be enemies all over the place. And I guarantee that the last enemies you'll kill in this arena will either be Nas, Clears, or Kamikazes. That's nearly always the case. And we got a Kamikaze this time. So here's the boss. This boss is shoot the cannon at the boss. That's all there is to it. One thing to note, don't get inside of him because his lava hitboxes actually does a lot of damage, even on tourist. So you're just spamming the cannon here. I'm moving in a very specific way to get him to shunt away from the door, because if you are close to him, he will actually move slightly back. As you can see right down in the corner here, he will move slightly back, and optimally you'll be right near the door when he's dead, so you can just immediately go through the door the moment he dies, because the door will immediately open as soon as he dies. You don't have to kill his little friends or anything like that. One thing you'll also notice there is I couldn't kill him with the cannon. There's a weird glitch that happens around about 70% of the time if you're spamming the cannon at this guy, where the last cannon shot will always go through and you can't kill him with the cannon unless you wait a little while. So the best bet in that situation is just quickly swap to the minigun and just burn him down that quickly like that. It'll take like 2 seconds. It's your best bet, because otherwise you're just stood there for a few seconds. So see, the door's immediately open, the trigger is right there. Now for Phoebe's Karnak. Karnak is not a difficult level. It's got one bull jump and then a gnar fly and then a clip. But once you got those down, it dramatically lowers the time of this on like 20 odd mil-level. So what we're trying to do here is jump in a specific way so that we do with the boost the moment the bull hits us. So we go straight for this window. I had really, really bad luck with these frogs here. And see, I almost made it there, and then I messed it up and it fell out. It's really tilting if you don't get this ride right. Alright, so now we're through the window, we just go straight to this area because we are looking to spawn some Nas. Because there are 2 triggers in this coming area, this pool area, which will spawn some Nas which you can use Just basically skip this entire level. So whilst we're doing that, more tea. The trigger for this is actually not the health pot, but there's just a giant line across this entire area, which is the trigger. We want to kill as many enemies here other than the Naz as possible, because not the lava guys can't hit you, but the other guys can hit the Naz and will kill them. So now we're just doing a quick nav fly to get over the wall. I was way too far away from the wall here before I started this fly, so normally you'd be a bit closer than that. And now we're just booking to the area. I killed the other now because you don't need his movement speed. And he can just knock you off, so you don't really need him. Now, if I recall correctly, this is probably the area where I lost the most time, because this, in my opinion, is the most difficult clip to do in the game, because you're doing a double clip, essentially. Like, you've got to clip through a lot more thicker terrain than any of the other clips, which are very, very thin. This one's very, very thick. So, chances are you will miss this for a while until you get the exact position you want. I'm honestly surprised I didn't cancel the run. I think I managed to nail this first time in this run, but some areas runs I did really poorly. See, right here, I know I failed it because I'm too far into the center of the room. I want to be roughly where I'm stood there. Not there, but a little bit more to the right, because it's slightly thinner terrain and you can get through it a bit easier. You can use that line here as your guidance. You want to jump roughly around about here. The thing with clips is that there's a little bit of randomness to it, because the frame rate is so poor. There's me accidentally pressing B instead of up. See, I failed it again, but I managed to pull it out just by, I think just by luck there. That was really weird. That should have failed, honestly. Alright, here's Luxor. Luxor is another level that is it's got a harpy fly and it's got another clip, but the harpy fly here is a lot more controlled in my gameplay. The fastest way to do it would be not the way I'm going to do it in this level. I do it a lot more controlled because this is the level before the last level, and I'd rather not do something that ballsy, especially when I'm on a good pace. So what we're doing here is a skip that basically anyone who's played Serious Sam knows about, is that you can just go straight up here if you've got an enemy behind you, and you're over. And if you're not playing on Tourist, you can just rocket jump up there, and it'll skip you right to the end of this arena, and you can do it for both sides. Everyone knows about this weird, odd inclusion. They didn't really think that too far about. I mean, honestly, I think they left that in on purpose, so... Alright. We grab that because that spawns the harpies. And we kill all the ones on the edge because the middle one is the one that'll get to us first. And we only want one harpy. Any more they could just bother us. See, I failed that so badly there. So now we're doing a controlled harpy fly here, where I'm actually trying to control where the harpy's kicking me. Because way the harpy kicks you, it actually increases and decreases your acceleration in a very, very, very slow rate. So you do it in a very certain way, so you land here a bit safer. And then we just do another clip. The entire world goes invisible there, so this is why we use mouse wheel instead of actually trying to time it, because you can't see it. Alright, now for the last level, and the worst level in the entire run. I hate this level. Everyone who runs this game hates this level, because it's completely RNG. And I'll explain why when we get to the wall. So there's a giant circle trigger right here next to this ammo pack, which starts the arena, a very, very long arena. So this is why we want to skip it, because it saves a lot of time skipping this. I failed there. I completely whiffed on my final shot on the clear and he stayed alive, so it's made the arena start slower. These tiny little time saves that I could easily clean up. Alright, so what am I doing here? I'm doing a trick which is kind of similar to the one I did really early on, which is known as a clear boost. I've been in this one section for a very, very long time trying to figure out exactly how this works, but from what I can gather, it's the momentum of the clears running that pushes you, and then you combine that with an object boost and a clear boost at the same time to give you a load of speed, and then you jump at the perfect time to get you up slanted walls. Because basically that's how clear boosting works. So you get a lot of speed, and then you jump as you're about to hit the wall, so you fly up the wall rather than just slamming into it. That's only a theory because that trick is incredibly inconsistent, and that's honestly, that there is the first time I ever got the clip from that side. I nearly always get the clip from the other side, or the boost I should say. Oh, you're probably wondering what I'm doing here. Bull boosting. Except this is the worst bull boosting area in the game because there are so many bulls. And all you want to do is just try to get to the end as fast as you possibly can. Clear as many bulls as you're going, because you don't want these guys messing you up whilst you're trying to get through this. Because if they just naturally hit you, they will actually slow your momentum so much. Alright, so this is the area where you just shoot the boss. You shoot the boss with cannons, does the most damage from this range, and you want to get it to a certain health percentage. The health you want is around about here on his health bar. You can use the timer as the indicator, because if he goes too far low onto this, he will stop what he's doing about here-ish and just heal all the way to here, and you don't want that because that's such a time loss. So you want to keep his health around about here. Use whatever you want. Use cannons. As soon as you got his health to this right here, you can use whatever you want to get his health at that stage. You can use rockets, use grenades, whatever, because he heals naturally over time. So now we're just waiting for this mothership to come over here and the door behind us to open. The door takes 2 minutes and 10 seconds to open. There is a trick I found that's not in this run, which saves about 20-ish seconds, which involves climbing the pyramid backwards and then using the speed of sliding down the pyramid to clip through the door at a certain time. The reason why it only saves 20 seconds rather than, you know, the entire time of the mothership arriving, you want the mothership to be in a certain spot before you go through the teleporter into the arena, because otherwise you will have to do 2 cycles, which is, even if you get here super quickly and clip very fast, it's still slower than having a 1 cycle. Because for some reason, the way we play the level, even like this natural way that you would probably play the level itself, you always get a 1 cycle. How the 1 cycle works is completely unknown. I don't know why sometimes, like, your 1 cycle, if the mothership's in a certain spot, you'll 2 cycle. Like, if the mothership isn't close enough, you'll have to 2 cycle. Even if it gets there and you don't activate the first set of switches until it's actually fully stopped, it'll be like classic where you need to do 2 cycles, and it's very odd. So now, this is world's easiest boss fight in the game, although you can lose runs to this boss fight if you mess up the HP values. All we need to do here is go through each of these 4 switches and have Unza, that's his name, in the middle of the arena so that the mothership can kill him. Important thing to note, the movement I do here is very specific. It will basically always guarantee that he will be in the middle. You've got like a 90% chance that he will be in the middle. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it's very rare. This is the most consistent movement I found. Moving slightly to the right there is actually just for safety, because if you get a bit too close to him, he'll stomp on you, which does 200 damage, and at this health level will kill you. So when you have armor, it's not that big of a deal, because you have 200 health most of the time in Tourist, and if you have armor you can survive 1 stomp, but he tends to stomp very quickly, so you don't want to get stomped. So you see where he is position wise, where I'm moving here. I'm moving directly like perpendicular to where he is, so he starts moving towards the center, which is that circle of light there, because that's where the laser beam will hit. See him try to keep itself at a certain point. The music's changed, which lets me know that he's got the laser is firing, and we just burn him down. And there we go. Timing stops the moment I lose control, which is after the upcoming voice line.
It ain't the size that matters, it's how you use it.
And time. So that is the 90% for Serious Sam HD on Tourist. So I hope my commentary was reasonable and you actually learnt a fair bit from this, because there's a lot of tiny little tricks which I do naturally that I take for granted, and after watching other runs of not just the one person that this inspired me to do this, other runs in the past, I've noticed things that I just take for granted and don't really think about, and I just do them. So I'm hoping I pointed out most of them to you and why I do them, because they do save time throughout the run. Eventually I will get a run where I have the 2 new tricks that were found implemented, the one that I found and the one that Freeze had found in sewers, which saves a lot of time. The one I found only saves about 10 to 20 seconds, which is roughly the same. So that's about 40 seconds, and you can see right there in my timer that in Karnak I was behind by a minute, and Luxor saves me essentially 2 minutes, because that's in my previous PB. Luxor was super bad, which really goes to show that at least over a minute can be saved from this 80% run. So whether I get it or whether another one gets it, good luck, and I hope this video helped you. Have a good one.